Hi everyone, welcome to Atp Live. Trying to share the videos to everyone, whether you are on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube. You are welcome to Atp Live. Just share the video, invite your friends and family, and then we'll be good to start. All right? Okay, thank you. I just want to make sure I'm pinned on the right platform. Okay. Okay, I can't see anybody on Instagram. I hope I'm live on Instagram. I'm live on Instagram. Okay. I don't know what's going on in Instagram, but I think something is going wrong there. I'm not sure people can see me. Okay, well, if you can see me on Facebook, let me know you can see me. Okay, and I can see those of you on Facebook. If you are on Ask the Pediatrician Facebook group, you can just put your question directly on the group, the video you're seeing on the group. But if you are on ATP Family or ATP Still a Mom, you have to navigate your way to the video itself for you to drop your questions for me to be able to see them. All right, so and then I will be able to take them. But if you're on the page or YouTube, you can drop your questions straight away and I will see them. Okay, I'm not sure people can see me on Instagram. I don't know whether there's anything wrong with Instagram. Okay, so hopefully Instagram people will join later on. I hope there's nothing wrong from my hand. Okay, so but I can see those on Facebook and we can go ahead and start. If one of our moderators, if you can just okay, somebody's on Instagram now, so at least I just want to be sure there's nothing wrong with my Instagram. Okay, great. Good evening, everybody. I am Gbemisola Boyede. I'm a pediatrician, and I'm here on representing Ask the Pediatricians Foundation. And what we are doing on Ask the Pediatrician Foundation is to give you health education information that will ensure that your children are healthy, that our children live and not die. So that is what all we do on ATP. So we have a Facebook group which is very vibrant, where you can ask your questions from Mondays to Saturdays. I see some of you trying to send us questions on our WhatsApp number, on my personal inbox. We don't answer questions via personal inbox, and we don't answer questions on our WhatsApp page. WhatsApp is for those who want to book a consultation or chat, which they have to pay for. So it is not our free platform. But for your free questions and answer, please post it on our Facebook group. We also don't do DM question and answer on Instagram for various reasons, because the platform is not suitable for that, and we don't have all our professionals on Instagram all the time. So we'll prefer you send us your question on our Facebook group. You can also read about child health issues on our website at www.askthepediatricians.com. If you read a post, an article, you can drop your question on that, but that will be answered over time. So, but if you have anything urgent, it's better you put it on our Facebook group. And if you put anything urgent on our Facebook, urgent is 72 hours maximum. Usually we do most of them 24 hours, but we want you to know that anything urgent or emergency goes to the hospital. And so, but if it is something health education, clarification, of course, we can always answer that over time. So I'm so excited to be here. So if you have question and answer, please drop your questions on whichever platform you are, on Facebook, on YouTube, or Instagram, and I will answer your question as much as possible within the next 1 hour. I'm going solo today. I don't have any moderator with me, so don't get bored of looking at my face, but just I'll try and see. But please try and ask your question on time, because when it is 7 p.m., starts 7 p.m. Nigerian time, I'm going to close the platform for you to answer questions. If you drop your question, I won't be able to answer them. I will just answer the ones that came in before 7 p.m. But not to worry, you can always see those questions to our Facebook group. And like I said, from Monday to Saturdays, we will answer your questions 24 hours every day. We are answering questions except on Sunday. So feel free to drop your questions. And I think I've done enough introduction, and I can go ahead to start answering all the questions I can have. Uluwato Yemisi, thank you. Good day to you. Another Facebook user, that's from our Facebook group. So if you are on our Facebook group, you need to give StreamYard permission for me to see your name. So if you don't do that, I will only see you as a Facebook user. I guess some of you don't mind. I mean, that means you're anonymous, but if you want me to see your real name, then it's better you give StreamYard permission to share your name. All right. Abimbola, good evening, doctor. Thanks for all you do. God bless you. Thank you too. I appreciate that. Facebook is good evening, ma'am. Okay, so my very first question, Oluwato Sinyamisi, we also happen to be the very first person. Good day, doctor. A baby was 2.9 kilos at birth and now 18 months. It was taken to municipal clinic for immunization when it was exactly 18 months and it was weighing 9.7 kilos. So the same day it was taken to Clicks Pharmacy to recheck the weight. It was weighing 10.5. I would like to ask Ma if the weight of the baby is okay. He has not been eating well for 1 to 2 weeks, even before the immunization. He only eats semi solid food, okra, blended with locust bean, mince meat, spinach, added. Whatever. I guess your question continues. So you try and keep your question straight to the point. Okay, so one, there seems to be a scale error here. So your baby was weighing in one hospital was weighing 9.7, another hospital was weighing 10.5. So we know that errors, there can be scale errors. So what I would advise is to go weigh the baby back in one of those hospitals, so we can see whether the weight is still the same or is making progress. That's number one. But whichever way, an 18-month-old should be weighing close to 11 kilos. That's the average weight of a 18-month-old child. But we are not worried too much about 10.5, 9.7. It's still close enough. So we're not worried about that. And like you said, maybe the child has not really been eating well for 1 to 2 weeks. The question is, why is the child not eating well? So you need to address that. I think you should just try and increase the quantity of food, the variety of food. But I'm not so worried about the weight. But you should just keep weighing the baby in one location, because as you rightly noticed, some of these scales can have errors. But if it is the same scale, so the error will be consistent, then we can see whether the baby is still gaining weight or not. And if the child is sick, then you should get the child evaluated by a doctor, just to make sure there's no issue. All right, thank you. I can see that my favorite people on Instagram are back. Welcome, Chomi for King. I've known your name now. Facebook user, good evening, good evening. Good evening, everybody. Welcome, everybody on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. You're all welcome. Okay, yeah, thank you for letting me know that you can see me, you can hear me. Good evening and happy new month. Sorry, I forgot to say happy new month. That is Nigerian greeting. We always greet ourselves happy new month, happy everything. So happy November, everyone. Um, Okay, so another question here is, good evening, doc. My son's tummy is bloated. Though he releases gas frequently, eats and drinks well, he's 2 years old. So I'm not sure I really understand what you mean by bloated. In other words, how big is the tummy? Because it's very not specific. But you said the child is otherwise moving well and all that. So I'm not sure whether what you call bloated is still normal size abdomen for that age. But if you think the tummy is really big, more than what you would really have thought is normal for this child, then it's best to see a colleague, a doctor, so that they can check out the baby to be sure why is the tummy bloated. There's no reason why the baby's tummy should be bloated. Usually sometimes you can have their tummy full, maybe after food, or maybe they are constipated. But if they move their bowel, then the tummy should go back. But sometimes I find that parents sometimes think for the toddlers, their tummies can somehow look a little bit bigger than, people think they have bloated tummy, but that size of the tummy, what we call protuberance, like it's just like if it's bulging, it's still normal for them because it has to do with the shape of the spinal cord at that age. So the way the spinal cord is formed, it kind of make it look as if the tummy is too much on the outside. So I always prefer I see what you are calling bloated or big so that I can decide whether that is actually normal abdomen or something that is abnormal. But since it's a Facebook Live, I can see the child. I'll rather you, if you're worried enough about it may be best if you ask another doctor or any healthcare professional to just have a look to be sure whether it is normal abdomen or it is truly bloated. And if it is bloated, why? And how do we address that? I hope that is helpful. Okay. Let's take a few more questions on Facebook, then I'll go to Instagram. Another Facebook user saying, good evening, doctor. What can be given to a baby of 6 months for teething? Okay, so every day, every single day, somebody must ask me about teething on Ask the Pediatricians. And I think I've said it so many, many times. Maybe a million times now, that teething is a normal thing. And thank you for those of you on Instagram. I see all of you trying to tell people to go to ATP to ask their questions there, because we see a lot of people trying to put up questions. And I know Instagram, it's a social media platform, and a lot of people are trying to help mothers, and so they help them post child health questions on their pages, very popular pages. But just like I always try to say, and apologies to some of you if you don't see us coming to comment on those pages. The reason is because child health issues is not a democracy of opinion. It's not a democracy of how many people comment or how many people say this particular answer. 1,000 people can say something and be wrong. That is the truth. So, and if I go back down memory lane, actually, that is actually why we started Ask the Pediatricians, because I was actually on some of those platforms on Facebook, and people will ask questions, and then somebody has asked a question and the person end up getting 100 answers, and the person is more confused at the end than at the beginning. So that is why we said, okay, fine, let's have a platform where you can ask the child health expert, because when it comes to health issues, the pediatricians are the experts on your child health. So that's why we created Ask the Pediatrician. That's the beginning of ATP to start with. So it is because we want you to be able to get answers from those who are qualified to give you answers, because not everybody can give you answers on child health issues. And I say that all the time, and with all sense of responsibility. And it is not about pride. It's because when we're talking about health, if you ask question about your hair and somebody messed up your hair, you go get another hair. Your hair will grow up. You cut it off. If you ask questions about your car, and maybe you ask me about your car and I give you an answer, and then your car gets messed up, okay, you'll be upset with me, but you go get another car. But you can't get another child. If your child should die because of the wrong information, you can't get it. And we say this all the time, and this is not an exaggeration. Many times you come to the hospital and a child is sick, the child is dying. As a pediatrician, you're trying to save the life of this child, and you ask the mother, why didn't you come yesterday? Why didn't you come 2 days ago when this illness started? The next thing most mothers will tell you, oh, I thought it's teething, and they told me it's teething, and I've been giving teething medication. And I've seen children die because the mother did not come to the hospital right on time because they are doing teething medications. Because some experienced mothers, as I always call them, I've told them it is teething. And the experienced mothers are so experienced, like you just tell them one line and they just tell you the answer straight away, and they always know the prescription, which is very wrong. Even sometimes, even as a pediatrician, most time you tell me something, for those who need to be, you're familiar with that, I would say ask you like several questions, and I was like, okay, I can't even figure this out now. You need to go to the hospital. We really need to take our health issues seriously, and especially the health of our children. We need to take it seriously. The health of your children is not something you ask your neighbor, your tailor, your shoemaker, or anybody who has an opinion. And in Nigeria, especially because I'm from Nigeria, so I know a lot more about Nigeria. Everybody has an opinion when it comes to health issues. Everybody has an opinion about what you should give to your children and all that. So please, this is a digression, but it's very important I make this important digression. When it comes to health issues, please know where to get information. Don't just ask anybody. Don't just post on anything. Let everybody tell you the answer. They may do you more harm. Sincerely, they don't mean to harm your baby, but they can do you harm while being sincere. And that is the truth. So please make sure you get health information from qualified health professional. Not because the page is popular, not because that is not what it is. It's about where should you get the right information. So please, it's very important. Back to the question, because there's no reason why you should give teething powder, teething medication to any baby. And this answer everybody else who is going to ask that question. Teething is a normal, perfectly normal development. So it is not a sickness, it is not a disease, it's a normal development, and there's no aspect of your normal growth or development that require medication. You don't need to get medication. And I always tell people that we pediatricians, we are completely fine with your baby not taking medications. Some mothers always even ask like, oh, my baby has been well for maybe 1 year, 2 years, the baby has never needed to take any medication, and they were like, why? I mean, as if it is an abnormal thing for them not to be able to give a medication. I mean, I'm like, seriously, that is the best thing. We don't want your child to be sick. We don't want your child needing any medication. So please do not give teething medication. There was a time in Nigeria, you just go and Google my boy. Is it my Pekin? No, sorry, not my boy. My boy is a formula. My Pekin is a teething medication. We had a lot of our children dying from renal failure because mothers gave their children teething medication that have been contaminated with methanol. All the children were having their kidneys shut down. Just go and Google my Pekin. It is something you can go and read for yourself. And I was part of those rescue teams that were, and what worries us most is that all these children don't even need this medication that is not causing all this problem for them. Just because parents want to give teething medication, we end up with renal failure, we end up with children dying. So please, teething is normal. You don't need to give any medication for it. If your child is sick, if your child has fever, your child has diarrhea, if your child has cough, if your child has rashes, it is not teething. There's no teething diarrhea, there's no teething cough, there's no teething rash, there's no teething anything. Teething is teething, teeth come out, that's all. So if you think your baby is sick, please don't take the experienced mother's diagnosis of teething diarrhea, teething cough, teething this, teething that, and don't go give your children any medication for teething. I say that, please don't. I beg you, in the name of everything you hold there, don't give your child any medication. If your child is sick, take your child to the hospital and let the child be seen by a doctor. So back to this 6-month-old who is having watery diarrhea. This child may have diarrhea. That's all. All you need to give this child is ORS. That child has diarrhea. It's not because of teething. You have just stopping breastfeeding, so I know you are going to start complementary feeding. If you don't do your complementary feeding properly, if you are using bottle to do complementary feeding, you're going to introduce germs to your baby. Your baby is going to have diarrhea. Okay, if you are not being hygienic, your baby is now sitting, baby is touching surfaces, the baby is putting things in their mouth, they're going to have diarrhea. So it is not because of the teething. Teething may make the baby want to itch their gum, for example. But if your baby use their and maybe the toy that has fallen on the floor, or the dummy that some of you give to them that has fallen on the floor, that has gathered germs, and the floor is not clean. The baby is introducing germs at that age, because that's the age where they start to sit. That's the age where they start to explore the environment. That's the age where they start to put things in their mouth. So they get introduced to the germs, and parents now think, because teething is happening at the same time that this baby is getting exposed, that's the time you stop exclusive breastfeeding, that's the time your antibodies in your body are waning out. Then people think, oh, it is the teething that is causing the illness. No, teething is not causing any illness, and many of you have given testimonies of the fact that your baby have teeth without you even knowing. You just woke up one morning and find the teeth there. So that tells you that teething can happen without you even knowing, without the baby having symptoms. So there are many reasons why, for example, this baby can have diarrhea. I've already told you some of the reasons why. So there are many reasons why babies start getting exposed to germs and infection and this. And if you're not being careful, washing their hands, washing their toys, sterilizing things. Some of you use bottle to do complementary feeding. Never, is wrong. So those are the ways you introduce germs to the baby. Then you think, oh, it is the teething. It is not the teething. So Facebook user, don't give any teething drugs to your baby. This baby, if your baby is having diarrhea, make ORS. But more importantly, focus on those hygienic process. Hand washing of the baby. You wash your hand, you wash your baby's hand, you clean. That's why you clean the surfaces where your baby play on and all that. You sterilize their toys, everything they put in their mouth. You need to make sure you do all those things, and your baby will be fine. Okay, I've gone overboard on that question, but because I want to use it to answer so many other questions. All right, the next question says, baby was born with cord around the neck, later revived, was put on observation, series of tests, confirmed was okay. With that baby still suffer long-term effect of that cord? So this person, I'm sure you've asked this question before. So the cord around the neck is not the problem. The cord doesn't cause any harm to the baby. If the cord around the neck now leads to baby not being able to breathe out by what we call breath asphyxia, or the baby oxygen not getting to the brain or blood not getting to the brain, and the baby now suffer a brain injury, that is when the baby is going to have the long term. So the question you're asking is not the right question. The right question is, what happened to that baby? Has it caused any injury to the brain of the baby? If the baby has suffered any brain injury, then the baby can have uh, um, what we call long-term disability, developmental delay, conversion, anything that happens as a result of brain injury. So that is it. But if this baby did not suffer any brain injury, whether there's cord around the neck or anything, the baby will be fine. So from what you've told me, your baby was observed, everything was fine, everything was okay. Just hope for the best. Don't start to panic. I think mothers panic a lot, but that is why we also follow up babies. So this kind of a baby that has suffered a kind of what we call injury at birth, or like um a complicated delivery, we need to monitor the baby. So this baby should not be far from your pediatrician. So we are not going to know what is going to happen until we follow up the baby. That is the truth. Sometimes we are wrong. Sometimes we think, oh, even for babies that have suffered brain injury that we resuscitated, and we think, this baby is going to have brain damage. Sometimes we are wrong. Sometimes, we are not God. God proves us wrong, and we are not ashamed to say we could be wrong. So I've seen babies that we thought the baby have died. I've seen a baby that the baby actually died. When baby stopped breathing and then nothing, and then suddenly we start to breathe for them. We breathe for this baby for hours. So sometimes some of those babies eventually they will come back, but we know that all those processes where they stop breathing completely, we have to be breathing for them, resuscitating them. We know that the brain is going, but we're like, okay, at least the baby is alive, but the baby may suffer some brain injury or complications. I'm telling you, we follow up this baby. I did a developmental assessment for this baby at 3 years. You will never know that it was the same baby. The baby was perfectly fine, no complications and all that. So sometimes we do have those kind of surprises, and in fact, it was something so miraculous to us. So we do have that. So we don't know at the beginning. We may suspect that this could happen, but we have to follow up that baby. So, but I don't want you to start panicking right from now, because baby may actually be fine. So don't worry. hope for the best, and just make sure your pediatrician keep following up the baby, monitor the developmental milestones and everything. For example, if by 3 months your baby is having neck control, by 6 months the baby is sitting, by 1 year the baby is walking, that means the baby's brain is fine and there's no need to worry anymore. All right, I hope that's helpful. Thank you, Destiny, for joining us. Okay, yeah, sorry, let me quickly go back to Instagram before I forget my Instagram people. They won't be happy with me. All right. Okay, Instagram. Yeah, you guys take a long time to join today, but I'm happy you are here now. Okay, show me for Kings. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Sometimes when expressing my breast milk, I notice that it has bubbles like foam. Is it normal? Yeah, there's nothing to worry. It's just hair. It's just hair, nothing to worry. Um Mother of Kings. Wow, how many kings? I love my 6-year-old boy. I get you didn't say whether okay boy, but you say is as body odor. I'm concerned because he's don't have I don't understand. Don't have the odor. I am not sure I understand that. Okay, so there are. I mean, mothers get worried over their children having body odor all the time. There's nothing to worry about. So, some children have the what we call the puberty thing kicking a little bit earlier than normal, and so they end up they may have the hormones that give us those body odors, they may be high in them and they may have that. So usually but if it's just the body odor alone, we are not worried. But if there are other things that is suggesting some what we call endocrine problems, the child is also having some other features, then we will worry about it. Then you may want to see a pediatrician, usually we call a pediatric endocrinologist to have a look. But what we normally recommend is still just hygiene. Let the child have a bath. Boys sometimes you need to supervise them, not just even boys, girls, boys, children generally. You need to make sure that they have their bath properly. You may need to supervise, make sure they wash all the hidden part of the body, the armpits, the perineal areas. Make sure they change their panties every day. Make sure they don't wear all these. The better you wear cotton panties, things that can breathe. Make sure you let them wear clothes that are not too tight, like jeans and all that. So just take care of some of those basic things. It's okay to use deodorants. If it is really that bad, you can use appropriate deodorants as well. But if you think there are other conditions going on with the child, maybe the weight is too much, or there are other issues, then it may be good for us to see a pediatrician just to be sure we're not missing out an endocrinological problem. But most of the time, there's really nothing to worry, and we just monitor them. So I hope that is helpful. Yes, I think I've answered Mother of Kings. Okay, Miss Grace still say good evening. Please, can I add little salt to my baby's food? You didn't tell us the age of your baby, but if you are talking of a baby who is on complementary feeding above 6 months, yes, you can have it. So please, I don't know why. Let me just quickly digress on that as well. So there's no law that say your baby must not have salt, must not have sugar, must not have all those in their food. And I'm like, you yourself, can you eat food without salt? Can you eat like for example, you're taking your pap without sugar? There's nothing like you can't put those in. We all we're aiming is for is moderation in everything we do. So it's not like you now be pouring like a whole bowl of sugar or a whole bowl of salt in the food. No, but a little bit of salt to taste food. Yes, please. And some of you give your children this pap without anything, no milk, no sugar, nothing, and you expect them not to. You not say they don't want to eat it. Why would they eat it? I wouldn't be able to eat that as well because it doesn't have any taste. So whatever food you give your baby, taste it yourself. Does it taste nice? So there are other natural products that you can use. Some people use dates, for example. Please don't use honey in children less than 1 year old. But you can use even some of those milk, like the formula and all those things that you have to the pap. Some of them, they sweeten the pap already, so you don't have to now add a little bit of sugar. But if you think it's not, if you add a little bit of sugar, that is fine. It's not going to cause any harm to your baby. And the same thing with salt. Just make sure you are not like holding too much salt in it. So there's nothing wrong with adding salt to your baby. So we just say little just to taste, not like too much in it. I hope that is fine. Let's move on. Yeah, okay, I've answered Miss Gracie. Okay, maybe it's 4 months today, but it still has colleague, though not as much as before, but it's normal. Yeah, some baby usually between 3 to 4 months, that's when it goes. Don't worry, it's going to go. You can trust me that it's going to go. You will look for it one day and you will not find it. Yes, okay, Miss Gracie, your baby is 6 months old. So for those of you, your babies are just for you just what those of you who are about to start complementary feeding, I strongly recommend you go through our complementary feeding guide on our Facebook group. Basically, there are videos for you to watch. There are videos on what to give, how much to give, how often to give, what texture to give and all that. I found that if you know those information on what to do, what not to do, it's very helpful, and it makes the journey smoother rather than we struggle a bit, then we now start looking for solutions. So I always recommend when you're just starting complementary feeding, watch out those videos. You can also check them on YouTube. Global health videos. They've done videos on complementary feeding. They've done videos on breastfeeding as well. All these things, they are very simple, short, I think the maximum is maybe 10 minutes video, but they give you this information in very simple, practical, ways that you would really find very helpful for you when it comes to doing complementary feeding. Okay, Shami for King say, what is ORS? ORS, sorry, my apologies if I use any abbreviation. Please draw me back. I try not to, but I always assume some things are so popular. ORS is oral rehydration solution. It's usually sold as salt, oral rehydration salts. If you go to any pharmacy, just tell them you want to buy oral rehydration salts or ORS, they will give it to you. So that you now open it up, put it in water, usually 1 liter. You shake it up, then it becomes oral rehydration solution. It's just like the name says, it's something we give through the mouth to rehydrate the child. It is not just only water, because when children are stooling, having diarrhea, they are not just losing water, they are losing what we call electrolytes. So since we call electrolytes like sodium, like potassium, those other things are being lost. So when you give them only water to replace, it's not good enough. So you need to give them the water with those other salts. So the sodium, the potassium. The sodium is what you have in your normal salt, the table salt that we used to eat at home. So that is why sometimes you can make ORS by yourself at home. If you don't want to go to the pharmacy to buy the one in the shops, you can use your own cube sugar or table sugar, what's it called, granulated sugar. I said table sugar, granulated sugar. You can measure 10 of it, and then teaspoon of salt, or use 5 cubes of sugar with a teaspoon of salt in about 600 to 700 mils of water. You shake it together. We call that salt sugar solution. It's close, but it's not exactly the ORS. ORS has other things like potassium bicarbonate, which the salt sugar solution don't have. But if you don't have the ORS, you can do the salt sugar. It's still better than ordinary water to rehydrate a child who is having diarrhea. Okay, Instagram. I hope I'm happy. Okay, let me just take one more question on Instagram, then I come back to Facebook. Precious Ada is saying, I have traveled to Lagos with my baby of 10 months, just saw rashes on his body. I believe it is the water. Are you saying those of us in our Lagos water is what is causing rashes? What can I do? I have to stay here for 13 more days. I'm not really sure whether it's the water or not. I'm not so sure how you are so 100% sure that it's the water. And I've not seen this rashes, so I don't really know what it is, the rash itself. So for rashes, we need to say. So if you are on our Facebook group, you can take a picture. Please, not picture of private parts or anything, but picture of all, at least if you are going to show the body, the part of the body, make sure the child is wearing the upper, the child's private part is not exposed, and you can post it so that we can look at it. And you didn't tell us, are the rashes itching, what are they like, any fever, all that thing, so you need to give us all those other information, because those are the kind of questions we ask to know what is causing a rash. We don't just assume it's the water. The fact that you travel to Lagos or something is because you're come to Lagos. The child could have had the rashes even from where you're coming from. So we try not to make assumptions a lot. We try to ask all those other questions. Or if you can't do that, you can also go to a hospital in Lagos and let a doctor just have a look. For example, some rashes are caused by, like you say, if it is the water, then you stop the water. If it is the cream, the soap, that is allergy. But some rashes are also due to infection. So it has something to do with water. So if you don't know the cause of something, you will not know how to treat it. Because, for example, if the rash is due to a allergy and you are giving antibiotics, it's not going to go until you remove the source of the allergy. So those are the reason why we need to ask all those other questions. Look at the rash before we can take it up from there. All right, precious Ada, I hope that is helpful for you. Okay, so before I move from Instagram, Oni is saying, can you recommend a eating timetable for a 22-month baby? There's not like an eating timetable. I don't do that. Reason is that we're all different from different ethnic groups. We all eat different food and all that. What you need to know is just how many times does my 22 months old need to eat. So usually for that age group, we want them to eat 4 times a day and maybe with 2 snacks in between. So altogether 6 times a day, and depending on whether you are still breastfeeding or not. So if you are breastfeeding, that's good. If you are not, you need to give milk as well. So that is just the background information you need to know. Now you will now sit down and decide what should go into your own timetable. You make it up by yourself depending on what you eat. So for your 22-month-old, I expect baby to be eating the same thing you are eating in the house. So whether it's cereal in the morning or it's bread and tea or whatever with egg in the morning, you make up whatever we just give you guidelines, principles. So you need to watch all those feeding videos. We give you guidelines to say you must have certain amounts of carbohydrates, certain amounts of protein, certain amount of fat, certain amount of milk, dairy, what, fruits, veggies. That is all. You can now be creative and make up whatever way you want to do it, whether you want to eat jollof rice or fried rice or coconut rice or whatever, or it's pandu yam or it's apala or it's mo or it's apple or whatever. You make up your own based on your own family, what you would normally eat. So that's what I normally say. I don't give a particular feeding timetable. I just tell you what you should do, what you need to do. You are the one that will now populate your timetable. So I hope that's helpful. Again, the complimentary feeding guide on our Facebook group, videos, very, very useful. And even we even tell you what not to give, like all those junk, all those pastries, all those juice and all that. They are not healthy. It's better you eat healthy snacks as fruits, for example, are healthy snacks that you can give your children. All right. Okay. Instagram, pause. Let me go back to Facebook. Okay. Good evening. Good evening, Facebook user. Good evening. Good evening. So many good evening. Okay. I think I've answered this question already. Okay. I think you asked it twice. I've answered it. Okay. Lisa is saying my first child, boy, is GCPD deficient, I guess you mean, and my subsequent children at risk. Okay, so GCPD is a X-link. Okay, it's a genetic condition. Let me try and break it down. So it's a genetic conditions passed to boys. Usually, boys are the ones mostly affected, unless the girl, very unusual. If you have the two X, very, very unusual for girls, but it's usually commonly in boys, an X-link condition, which means your boys are the ones that are likely at risk of having it. So it's possible for it to happen again in your boys, depending on, usually it's really passed from the mother to the boys. But don't worry about all those jargons. Let me not bother you with that. But just know that it's something that is commoner in boys. And yeah, if you are a carrier, what it means that if you are a carrier, it's not all your boys too, though. Let me put it that way. If you are a carrier of that, so women. Okay, let me try and explain some biology for those for you to understand. So women, we have two X chromosomes. Men have one X and one Y. So, which means that you as a mother, if you have one X chromosome that is normal, that doesn't have any GCP deficiency, and you have another X chromosome that has the deficiency, you will not have the disease, but you are a carrier. In other words, you have part of that X that is a carrier. So what that means is that whenever you have boys, you can give you will give them one of your X chromosome. Your husband is going to give them the Y. So what that means is that if you give the normal X to your boy, that boy will not have GCPD deficiency. But if you give the abnormal X to your boy, that boy will have GCP because the boys have only one X. So if that X is abnormal, the boy is going to have the GCP deficiency. So you will never know until the baby is born, because every time you're having a baby boy, you have a chance of giving them one X. For your girls, your husband, if your husband doesn't have GCP deficiency, it means your husband can only give the normal X to your girls, and you will give, if you give a normal X, that girl will be fine. If you give the abnormal X, the girl will be a carrier like yourself, but will not have this speed deficiency. So that is how I can explain this. I know it's medical jargons, but just know that each of your boy has a 50% chance of having this speed deficiency. All right. Okay. Okay. How can it be prevented? It's a genetic condition. You can't prevent a genetic condition from happening. It can just happen unless you just say, I'm not going to have a baby anymore. But it is not really that bad condition. It's just a condition in which you just need to know what to avoid. So for those who have this PD deficiency, what it means is that when you are exposed to certain things, they break down the red blood cells a lot. So some drugs, like some sulfur drugs, some beans, we call fava beans. There's a whole list of things. So what you just need to do is, if you have GCP deficiency, you avoid those things. For example, if a boy who has GCP deficiency, you should not be using methylatum, you just putting anything wrong their nose, all those kind of things. They are going to start breaking down their red blood cells. So you just need to have a list of what, I think we have a list on our Facebook group of drugs and things that you should avoid. And that is one of the reasons you should also read information before you give drugs. For example, they will tell you this drug, don't use this if you have GCP deficiency. This information are always in the drug leaflets. So you always, for people that have those kind of deficiency, you need to just take precautions. Some of them don't have it very bad, but you say your child has a full one, so obviously it's the severe type. But so what you just need that you need to avoid the things that can trigger off the breaking down of the red blood cells. So have a list and avoid them. Before you use any drugs, before any doctor recommend any drugs, tell them my baby has GCPD deficiency. A good doctor will check that can these drugs be used in somebody who have GCPD deficiency. If they can be used, the person will use it. If it cannot be used, it will tell you don't use it. For example, you should not be using Septrin. You should not be using some antibiotics, what we call sulfonamide antibiotics. So there are drugs you should avoid. So get that list. Usually, most of the hospital would have given you that list when they make a diagnosis for you. Also, some food as well. Some of those food are not Nigerian foods anyway, but you just need to make sure you avoid it. And if you notice anything, that once your child take this thing, it starts having yellow eyes, passing dark colored urine and all that, which means child is having hemolysis, you need to avoid those things. I hope that is helpful for you. All right. Okay. Can I use my baby powder to ease itch rash? If your baby has itch rash, you can use the itch rashes powder. But make sure it's itch rash, because a lot of mothers always say itch rash when it is not itch rash. So I always prefer you show us the rash, so we're sure. And again, Dr. Folakemi Cole, which is our dermatologist, has done a beautiful presentation about 2 weeks ago on how to keep your baby's skins healthy and all that. So I will recommend that for all of you also to read. So, but more importantly for Nigerians, please stop overwrapping the babies. Most of these babies have itch rashes because the mothers cause them. Because I don't know, in the book of the experienced mothers, they say that hair must not blow on the babies, because when hair blow on them, they are going to have pneumonia. And that is why people will not use fan, they will not use AC, then they will wear cap all the time, mittens all the time, socks all the time, and then they will wear thick clothes and wear sweater, and then they will still wrap up the baby. Why wouldn't the baby have heat rashes? I mean, for crying out loud, there's so much heat already. In the country itself is a hot country most of the time. So please, I always say, dress your baby according to the weather. There is no law that your baby must always have cap on 24/7. There is no law, at least in our own pediatric textbook, that you should not use fan for babies, you should not use AC for babies. Please, everything is moderation. It is about ventilation. It's about the baby being cool without being cold. You can be cool and not be cold. So, and it's very easy to know. I always tell mothers, it's very easy to know whether your baby is cold or cool. Feel their finger, their palm. So feel it. If your baby's sperm is just normal temperature, your baby is fine. If your baby sperms, because usually they lose it from the extremities first. If it's feeling cold, then that means your baby is getting cold. Then you can wear another layer or wear your main things at that point. But there's, please let there be hair, let there be circulation. If you go to our neonatal unit, we put on the AC there. So I don't know where mothers, and these are very preterm babies that we monitor there, but we put them in the incubator and we regulate the temperature in the incubator. So please, there is no law that say once you have a newborn baby, all your windows must be closed. There must be no fan. There must be no AC. Your baby must have hair, cap, on 24/7, wrap up all the time. They're going to have rashes. And you see this baby sweating and they are still wearing the cap, and they're like, please lose this cap, lose this socks and everything. Just most, you are sensible, you are a mom, you are sensible, so you know what is right and what is okay. So just use your normal intelligence to gauge, most of us know, when your baby is feeling cold, if their extremities are cold to touch, wear up. When they are sweating, please lose the clothes. That's it. It's just simple as that, and we trust you to be able to do the right thing. Okay, my baby of 2 weeks, birth weight is 2.8, having catarrh. The pig said I should not use anything. Exactly. I think I just want to ask for a second. Why do you need a second opinion? I mean, that is the rule. That's the answer. So anyway, we don't give second opinion. But if you have seen a pediatrician, the pediatrician who saw your baby knows more than Dr. Gbemi, who have not seen your baby, because I don't have all the information the pediatrician have. But what your pediatrician told you is the correct answer. Your baby does not need any medic. I know that's what you are going for. You want to give medication for the catarrh. No, it doesn't need any medication. Most cough and catarrh in babies are due to viruses. Viruses will go by themselves. They don't need any antibiotics. Antibiotics are for bacteria. So please don't give any medication. More important is why is a 2 weeks old baby having catarrh? So it means that baby has been exposed to somebody who has cough or catarrh. So that is why I say when you have a newborn baby, the baby does not need visitors. The visitors come for you, the mother, not the baby. Seriously, your baby doesn't know whether they are there or not. So please keep our baby away from these visitors, because these visitors are coming with their germs, coming with their cough and cold viruses, and your baby does not have any ability to fight these germs yet. The baby is still developing their immunity, so they don't need unnecessary exposure. So keep your baby in the house, keep your baby warm, breastfeed your baby exclusive. Even for the siblings are going to school and they all love the new baby and they want to kiss the baby, they want to carry the baby. I know it's nice for them to do that, but please let them wash their hands and make sure that they don't have cough and catarrh. If they do, please keep them away from the newborn baby, because they're going to give the newborn baby the germs, and then you will start looking for Dr. Gbemi to write antibiotics. I'm not going to write it. So your baby do not need any antibiotics. Keep your baby warm, breastfeed exclusively, keep them away from all the people with germs that they have, but it's not disturbing them. But they're going to give to the baby and it's going to disturb the baby. And that is all you need to do. All right, let's move on. Okay, our time is running out. 5 months old have cold, sweaty feet. 5 months old, cold, sweaty feet. I don't understand cold, sweaty feet. So if a baby's feet is sweaty, it means baby was hot and the baby is trying to cool himself. So if you have been putting socks on, you need to lose it and then clean off the sweat, and the baby will be fine. So because most of the time they fall for sweat as a way to cool off themselves. And I'm sure you've listened to what I've said about all the ways we've always dressed up our babies. That is what is happening. Yeah. Okay, Gina is saying, what can a 8-month-old eat and how many times? Okay, so Gina, you really need to go and do our complimentary feeding. I believe you've heard me say that 100 times already. So please go and do that course, because all the information you need, trust me, is in all those videos. Your 8-month-old needs to eat about 3 times a day. But what do you need to give? What texture you need to give? All those information, you will find it very useful if you watch those global health reading videos. Let's move on. Olayinka is, what can you say about flame? My mom say my baby, a lot of it in her tummy. Okay, so I don't know what textbook the experienced mothers read, but I prefer you just ask me your questions straight away and not tell me what they say or what they don't say, because most of the time I don't even believe what they said, because they don't have any basis to say some of those things. It's just their own explanation. As human beings, we all try to find explanation for things, and sometimes grandparents, experienced mother, they always have explanation for everything, right or wrong. Most time they do, which is not true. When she eats, she vomits part of it. A baby vomit part of the food because baby is having reflux. It has something to do with any flame and whatever. So your baby is 6, 7 months old now. So your baby, if a 7 month old is still vomiting back, because I believe that for a 7 month old you should be giving complementary feeding. So if your 7 month old is still vomiting, then you are overfeeding. So you need to, that is why you also need to do the complementary feeding course. You need to know how much you need to give. For example, when you start feeding a 6 month old, they just need about 25 mils of thick porridge. That's all. But I see mothers, because mothers think it's the same ratio. So because your baby was taking 100 mils of breast milk or formula, whatever you were giving before, then when you switch to complementary feeding, you think it's also going to be the same 100 mils. No, it is not. Because this time around, the food is thicker and there are more in a smaller quantity. That is actually why we need for you to start giving your baby complementary feeding, because the volume of milk that your baby will need to take for the amount of calories they need at that age after 6 months is going to be too much volume of milk. Your baby will be needing more than 1,000 liters of milk, 1,000 mil, not liter, 1 liter of milk. So their stomach is also small like this. So we need to give them so much calories but into that small stomach. And that is why we now have to change them to complementary feeding, solid, semi-solid, that you need only a smaller quantity of it, and yet it will give you that same amount of calories that you're going to get in 1 liter of milk. So people need to understand that when you switch over to complementary feeding, it's not the same volume. And that is when I say people should go and watch these videos. People don't understand some of these dynamics. This is not just about is it pap or cereal or what should I give. No, it is also about what quantity of it should I give. It's also about how many times should I give it, So we need to understand some of this. It's also about what should I put into it. For example, just putting a tablespoon of palm oil into your pap as you're mixing it increases the calorie content so much, because, for example, pap, fat has more calories, per kilo compared to carbohydrates. So that is why you just need to put a little bit of fat. It increases the calorie. Of course, you also need protein, so you need to add the egg, but you need more of the carbohydrates, 40 to 45% of the total food. Then the protein, maybe about 10 to 20%. Then you need fat. Of course, you need to have the vegetables and all that as well. So these are all the things that goes into, and it has to be thick pap, and the quantity you need to give is not the same as your volume of milk. And when I say thick pap, okay, I don't have my spoon here. When you pick your pap or your cereal or your porridge or whatever it is, sorry, I'm using pap a lot, but it's not pap only. I'm talking about whatever food. It should be thick in the sense that when you turn it over, it should not drop. And that is why you can never give complementary feeding through bottles, which is what most mothers do. We just put the pap again in the bottle and you make it so watery so that it can flow out of the bottle. It's wrong. And then the baby will take so much of it, then they're going to vomit. So your babies need to take their pap or their porridge or whatever food you have made for them with a cup and a spoon. It won't pass through a bottle. And bottle is not even appropriate. So, and then the quantity you're going to give, you start with something as small as like 25 mils. Then maybe by the time they're about 7, 8 months, they take just about 50 mils. And they just need to take it maybe twice a day for the first, when you start at 6 months. You just need to do it twice a day. The rest of it is still going to be the breast milk. So, but sometimes mothers don't understand it. They want to still feed the same pap 8 times a day, the same way they would do formula. That's too much. So the baby is going to vomit. So we need to understand all these dynamics. Number one, are you giving the right texture? Are you giving the right quantity? And the quality of what you're giving as well? So I strongly recommend that you watch those videos. And when you watch it, please don't watch it while you're also watching Netflix or doing another thing, because you're going to miss all these salient points. Because people tell me, "Oh, I've watched all those videos," but from your question, I know you've not watched it, because you've asked question that tells me you've mixed out those parts of it that I'm talking about, and they always summarize it at the end as well. So these are the information. It has nothing to do with flame or anything. No, so make sure you're giving the right quantity, the right quality, and the frequency as well. So we call about FADUA. So if some of you go to our website, you read about how your complementary finish. It must be right frequency, adequate, density, I forgot the you now. Somebody will remind me later. Then, so those are the things that you need to think about when you're doing complementary feeding. But just watch those videos. It's so easy to understand all this grammar I've been speaking. Okay, my 14-month-old had catarrh for about a week now. I was giving vitamin C, broncholyte, no temperature, sleep well, eats well, blocked nose persist. So if the nose is blocked, so you need to put something in the nose to soften the mucus so that it can flow out. And usually what I would recommend is just saline drop. Saline drop is the same salt that you use to cook food that they put inside water. So, but you don't make it yourself because your own may not be sterile. So you go to the pharmacy shop. So the essence of it is that when you put this in the nose, it will soften the mucus and allow it to flow out. So that is all. But if you are still not getting any response, of course, you can go back to the same doctor and let them know. But like I've told you guys, cough, catarrh, they are viruses, they are going to run their course. Most of them will last 2 weeks, no matter what you do or what you don't do. So just how long have you done your own? 1 week. So just another 1 more week, you should be fine. Okay, Omole say my 4-month-old passes gas often, and I know she vibrate while sleeping, not checking. All those are normal. Yes, they are normal. There's something wrong with passing gas. We like that, and I would rather your baby pass gas than not pass gas because that's just something else. Okay, Facebook is just saying, is there any cure for colic? No, there is none. And what can be done to be managed? So we have a whole article on colic. So colic is one of those things that pediatrician will tell you it will come to pass. Just hang in there. It will come and it will go. So you can try different things. Different things work for different babies. Some people use Infacol and it works wonders for them. But most people just petting your baby, rocking the baby. Some people white noise. But it's one thing that by the time your baby is about 3 to 4 months, it will go away. It's a common thing most babies have. It's nothing to worry about. Your baby is not in pain. Your baby is not. I know it looks like they are in pain or they're having discomfort, but they are not really. So I know the cry can be so annoying, but just get help. If you are getting tired, let the dad take over. Let granny take over. Just have a break. That's all. But with time, it's one of those things that will come to pass. I think the mothers feel more uncomfortable about the colic than the baby themselves, but don't worry, you'll be fine. Good evening. What are the side effects of a baby with hepatitis B not being given immunoglobulin within 12 hours? Okay, so what that means that the baby can also have hepatitis B. Because what we're trying to do is to prevent the mother, from transmitting the hepatitis B infection to the baby pending the time the baby's own. Because we actually give baby hepatitis B vaccine as well at birth. But when we give the vaccine at birth, it's not going to start working immediately. It will take another few weeks before it will build up immunity. So we want to give the baby something that's already ready-made. That is the immunoglobulin. So the hepatitis B vaccine we give is going to cause the body to produce those immunoglobulins to fight against hepatitis B virus. So the baby will not get hepatitis B infection, but it's not going to work from day one. So what we do is that we're giving the immunoglobulins to buy time pending when the vaccine one will start to work. So if it's not giving your baby, that baby can still have hepatitis B. And hepatitis B infection is something we don't want because we're talking about long-term effect, chronic hepatitis, liver cancer down the line. So if it's something we can prevent, we will want to prevent it. So the best option is to prevent rather than to deal with the complications later on. So I know it's expensive, but try and get it. Bolari was saying, "Good evening, doctor. Thanks for what you've been doing. I've learned a lot." Okay, I'm glad. God bless you all. My baby of 5 months is on mixed feeding from birth. Birth weight is 2.9 and 6.6 at 4 months. Is it ideal to start giving her food puree at 5 months? No. Wait until 6 months. Okay, so all these questions, I always tell them that you're not hurrying anywhere. Just relax. So there's a reason why we say you should give babies at 6 months. Some of you think with these things are arbitrary. They are not. They are not. That is the difference between us and the experienced mothers. So for medical recommendations, there are researches behind all those guidelines. We just that we don't need to bore you guys with those information. We don't want to bore you with all the researches people have done, all the one WHO have done. So before they will come out and say this is not just Nigeria, this is not just UK, this is all over the world. This is a recommendation by all the pediatricians that you should start complementary feeding at 6 months. There are researches backing it up. There is no extra advantage starting at 4 months. It's actually going to backfire. So because your baby's digestive system is ready from 6 months to handle solids, trying to do it earlier will end up giving you more problems. So there is no reason for, you're already doing misfeeding, so I don't know what is the issue now. So you're already doing formula, you're already doing breast. So it's not as if you're complaining, oh, I'm tired of breastfeeding. So stick to what you're doing, and then when it is 6 months, then start complementary feeding. Don't do anything extra. I always tell mothers it's best to listen to the pediatrician, because if you don't listen to the pediatrician, you're still going to end up with the pediatrician anyway. And then we'll start talking about why we should have done it better. So there are reasons, there are evidence behind all those recommendations. So that is why it won't be like this in Nigeria or different in the UK or different in the US. What all pediatricians recommend is that you start it at 6 months. I'm sure the doctor who told you to start at 4 months is not a pediatrician, because no pediatrician is going to tell you to do that. That is the truth. I know some doctors just what is the difference? It doesn't matter. No, it does. So please start at 6 months. Go and watch all our complementary feeding videos and follow those instructions to the letter. I find out when you follow the instruction, you have peace of mind. The pediatrician also have peace of mind, and then we don't end up having to see each other in the hospital before time. All right. Okay, let's move on. Can a 5 month take ORS? Yes. 5 months can take ORS, 6 months can take ORS, which usually we don't give ORS below 3 months anyway. But usually, if you are exclusively breastfeeding, you will not be needing ORS, because your baby will really not have diarrhea. But most of you don't listen to the pediatrician, or you will give breast milk, you will also give water, then your baby will have diarrhea, then you will need ORS. But if you have done exclusive breastfeeding, you will not have diarrhea, you will not need ORS. So it's best to do what is the right thing to do. Okay, I've answered this question. It's a duplicate. Okay, my baby said usually halts when charged, but temperature is normal, then your baby is normal. So I always tell mothers there's a reason why they invent that instrument called thermometer. It's because your hand is not reliable. If your hand is reliable, we will not need a thermometer. So if your hand is saying your baby is hot, but your thermometer is saying otherwise, I believe the thermometer better than your hands. Unless you are really sure your baby is really hot, and when you think your thermometer is faulty, then get another thermometer or go to the hospital, let the doctors check. Our own thermometer are usually more reliable, and then we can check again. If the doctors or the nurses also check and it is normal, then it is your hand that is not. Because sometimes if you are hot yourself, if you feel another person, you think the person is hot, but you are the one that is hot. So it is that's why I prefer you use the thermometer. And since your thermometer is reading 36.7, I'm not worried at all. So just let the baby be. Baby doesn't have fever, and that's more reliable than what your hand says. Okay, so it is 7 now. Please don't ask any more questions, but I will answer all the ones that have come in already, so that I can round up. My baby's milk tooth is extracted. Can the permanent? I don't know, what do you mean extracted? Was it removed by a doctor? Because we use the word extracted when a dentist does the job, not it came off by itself. So can you ask that question again? Because I really need to know, why did the dentist take off the milk tooth as well? That's number one. Facebook user, what can be done to clear up something that look like dandruff from a baby's head? How old is this baby? Okay, if it's a newborn, are we talking about cradle cap? So you need to, when you ask me question, you need to tell me the age of your baby. I really need to know the age of the baby because it helps me to know what is likely at that age. You know, pediatrician, we see children from 0 to 18 years, even 18 years. So if you don't tell us the age, you won't know. And there are things that we see in this age group that we don't see in this particular age group. So we need that information. If you are talking fontanelle, I think it's a young infant. So I'm suspecting something like cradle cap. So if it is cradle cap, then all you need to do is to use the baby shampoo to wash the hair. So there are baby shampoo, you use it to wash the hair. You can first soak the hair with like olive oil in the night. Then when you use the baby shampoo in the morning, then you use your comb to comb out all the flakes, and that's all. That's all you need to do. It's very easy. Sometimes the babies have very bad ones, then you need to see a pediatrician. Sometimes we recommend something stronger, like antifungal hair shampoo, but that is for very serious ones. But most of them, they don't need all that. Sorry. Let me take my tea. Okay, Faithfulness is asking, um, what month is oral polio given to babies? Oral polio, if you are in Nigeria, is given at birth, at 6 weeks, 10 weeks, and 14 weeks. That is when we give oral polio. We are now beginning to transition to injectable polio, IPV. So we're giving OPV before, but we have started giving IPV now because very soon we want to erase oral polio once we are polio free. So you can see that some of them are already giving you the IPV at 14 weeks. I think some people also have started giving IPV too as well. So, but usually I think we're still giving both together. After a while, we're going to switch only to the IPV and stop the oral polio. Good evening. Good evening. Okay, let me finish. My baby has greenish pole. She's not starving. She has this jetty mark on her neck and back regions. Okay, is there any need to take her to the hospital? Number one, I don't know what you really meant by JG, or is it jetty you want to say? So I always tell you guys, if you have make your own diagnosis, do your own treatment. You cannot be doing your own diagnosis and be asking me to treat that, because I mean, we're not likely going to be in agreement. So I don't like people telling me this is a diagnosis, because it doesn't necessarily have to be true. So what I think I can get from your question is that your baby has skin rashes on the neck, and your baby has greenish pole, and your baby is no temperature, eating well, gaining weight. But you didn't even tell us the age of this baby. So it's very important that you tell us the age of your baby. But your baby has greenish poo, your baby is having rashes. Go to the hospital. You've not told me the age of the baby, so I can't say. You have also not told me what your baby is eating. So when people tell me your baby is eating well, it doesn't make any meaning to me as a pediatrician. You have to tell me what exactly baby is eating, how many times, then I will know whether the baby is eating well or not. Because your own definition of eating well may not be my own definition of eating well. Because for me, it is not giving a baby pap 3 times a day or 5 times a day that is eating well. So we have to have all those information. Yeah. So this Facebook user asks your question. No, you can't ask your question again because time has gone. So, but post your question on our Facebook group. Include the age of the child. Tell us what your baby is eating, and if you have a picture of the neck rash, it will be fine to say. So, for example, if your baby is eating some formula, there's some formula that will make your baby's green to have greenish too. So for especially those formula that has iron in them. So that's why we need all those information before we answer question. And there's nothing jetty or rashes. No, there's not. For those of you who are on Facebook, you know that already. I've done a research on our Facebook group, and I asked everybody to tell me what jetty means to them. You all came up with more than 20 different things, from diarrhea to what we will call diarrhea, to what we call dysentery, to what we call skin rash, to what we call cough, to what we call back pain. So people have different meaning when they say jetty. There's no uniform meaning. So it doesn't really make any meaning, because different people call different things jetty. So it's best to tell us, because for us, we have a different medical word for it. So it's better you tell us in simple English, what is it? My baby has skin rash. or my baby have this. Don't just forget those native diagnoses. Just don't be using them because it can be quite confusing. Apart from baby formula, can a 1 year old take beverage? See, your 1 year old can take beverage. Your 1 year old can take normal milk, the same milk that you also take in the family, or they can take follow up milk for toddlers as well. Okay. Oh, somebody from YouTube finally. Thank you, Eunice Omeji. Good evening, Doc. I'm super excited. I'm also super excited to have somebody from YouTube. Okay, we will be 6 months on Saturday. I've done the complimentary day. Hey, these are the people. These are the real Ethiopians. She's already done the complimentary feeding course, which means that you are ready to go on full blast on Saturday. Oh, lovely, 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 ATP. We love you too. Thank you. She's 4 months old. So Facebook user, because there are many Facebook users, I don't know which is which. So this 4 months old, who is that? So you have to ask the question all over again because it doesn't make. I don't know which of the questions because there are two questions that somebody have left out the age. So I don't know whether it's the first or the second. So that's the advantage of making sure your name is showing. Okay, so Lokpa is saying, is it necessary for a baby to take OPV from those going around? Okay. I think, is it Tolu? Did you have this question last week or is it somebody else? So yes, you can take the vaccine that they give around, what we call supplementary immunization. Actually, they normally announce why they do it in the radio, and I know some of us don't listen to all those news, but usually we try to explain to you why we do it. But it's okay for your baby to take it, even though your baby has completed the immunization. So what your baby has completed, we call it routine immunization. So what we go around giving, we call it supplementary immunization. It's an additional immunization. So sometimes, even though your baby has been immunized, sometimes when there's an outbreak or we're trying to prevent another outbreak, we give extra dose or booster dose. For example, some of us have taken COVID vaccine, but now because we think, oh, it may come back, we're taking booster doses. So that's the same thing. So there's no harm. And I've told you guys, don't worry, your baby is not going to suffer any harm from taking extra doses of vaccine. It doesn't cause any harm to them. Okay, regarding adding raw egg to pap, can it be stored? So please don't give your baby raw egg. Nobody ever said you should give raw egg to babies. You need to cook the egg with the pap. Never raw egg, please. Never raw egg. You are going to give your children what we call salmonellosis. It's an infection like the typhoid fever, which is present in raw egg. So please, if you are going to add egg to your pap as a way of adding protein to it, which is perfect, which is fine, please cook it on fire. Cook the pap and the egg together, not even just pouring hot water. You have to cook it. It must cook into it. So please don't give raw egg to children at all. And please don't, it's better you make your children's food just before they need to eat it rather than making it and storing, because some of this storage in the process, the germs enter inside, they multiply, that's why it is best. So please don't add raw egg to pap unless you are cooking it, and don't store raw egg with pap. Don't even do that. So I hope that is helpful. How about putting baby Goya on my baby fontanelle? If you want to, you can do that just once a day. You don't need to put, if it's because of the fontanelle that you want to be putting oil, that is not true. You don't need to put oil. You are putting oil just to keep the scalp, um to make sure the baby's scalp is moisturized so that it doesn't have dandruff, not because of the anterior fontanelle. The anterior fontanelle does not need your oil. It does not need any oil to being applied to it every time. No, please. I know the experienced mothers would have told you that the air is not entering from the fontanelle. Just forget all that. So the fontanelle is a hole in the bone in the skull, and what covers it is just the skin, okay, the scalp of the baby. So you have no business doing anything to that area. Just leave it alone. You don't need to see it. You don't need to touch it. You don't need to put oil on it. Just leave it alone. The reason why it is there is because your baby's brain is still growing. And because baby's brain is still growing, we want the baby's head to be able to accommodate the growth of the brain. But if the bones are all fused and there's no hole in them, then there's the baby's head will not be able to accommodate. The baby said will be small, it won't be able to accommodate the bone. That is why those holes are there. They have no business with you. They need no oil, they need no treatment, they need nothing. It's a normal space in the head of the baby. And it's not the only normal space. There's anterior fontanel in the front, there's posterior fontanel at the back. There's also what we call sutures in between those flat bones as well. The essence of, some of you may see it as a line, how all those kind of things. The essence of those things, because they allow the bone in the skull to expand, to get bigger as the baby's brain gets bigger, because the brain is not fully formed. It's not about 60 to 70% fully formed at birth. So the brain is still going to grow for the first 5 years. So the essence of making those holes is so that the head can expand as the baby's brain grows. So there's no business the fontanel is doing to you or not. The fontanel sometimes tell us if there's a problem in the brain. For example, if your baby is having too much water in the head, the fontanel will go up. So that tells us the baby will have what we call raised intracranial pressure. And that may help us to start looking for what are the causes of raised intracranial pressure, like meningitis. So the fontanel itself is not the problem. The fontanel just gives us a sign that there's a problem somewhere else. For example, if your baby doesn't have enough water and it's dehydrated, so the water in the brain also will go down, and the fontanel might go down, so it will become what we call sunken. Or sometimes when your baby is not eating, when your baby is malnourished, it can also go down. So it tells us that something else is going on in the rest of the body by the way it looks, but that does not mean the fontanel itself has a problem. So please do not apply anything, do not put anything. You don't need to put oil, you don't need to put anything. So all that your mom is telling you is just myths. That's why I say you should all stop listening to all the experienced mothers. They always have the explanation. Most of them are not true. They are not scientific. There are no scientific basis for all those explanations. All right, I hope that is helpful. Let's rush now. My baby is 6 months, 3 weeks, rarely eats 2 to 3 spoons of swallow. But okay. So 3 months of swallow. So this person has not done the complementary feeding course, because if you have done the complementary feeding course, you will know that a 6-month-old only needs to eat just that amount when he just starts. That is the truth. That is just the amount the baby needs at that age. And what you still need to do more is the breastfeeding. So you are thinking your baby is not eating enough, but your baby is actually eating enough, because you are not supposed to reduce your breastfeeding when you start complementary feeding. You are supposed to keep breastfeeding as much, and you now start adding of the food. And like I told you at the beginning, all your baby needs, for example, for the first when they are 6 months old, it's just about 25 meals. In fact, the first 1 day or two, just 1 spoon or 3 spoons you need to give them, so that they get used to the new food, and then you gradually build it up. You really need to go and do those courses. You need to know what is normal, how often you need to give, because if not, you will have the wrong expectation. Then you start to have unnecessary panic, because you think your baby is not eating enough. When you are, some of you actually unconsciously also reduce breastfeeding, which you are not supposed to do. So because you think, oh, thank God EBF is over, baby should be eating other food, then I can rest. No, you are not supposed to rest. You're supposed to keep on breastfeeding and just add the complementary feeding. Honestly, that's all you need to do. Okay, I'm almost done. Oh my goodness. Okay, 1 year, 2 months, I had eczema on the cheek since 11 months. I've tried Fombate, I've tried shea butter, is increasing. You need to see a doctor. Stop trying. I've told you guys, all these rashes, there are different causes of rashes, there are different types, different causes. If you don't know the cause and you are treating it, it's not going to go, because sometimes you are doing the wrong thing. So you are the one that assume it is Fombate that need to be used, where it is not Fombate that need to be used. So why not see a doctor and let the doctor do their job and treat it? Okay, what is the right time to start cleaning a baby's mouth? You can start cleaning your baby's mouth from day one. What you need to do to clean the mouth of a baby is just clean cloth and water when they don't have teeth. When they start having teeth, you start using toothbrush and toothpaste. So all the oral hygiene techniques is there on our website, on our Facebook group. I hope that's helpful. My daughter has skin patches, which started when she was 2 months old. She's 28 months old, spread to that part. It's not itching, not painful. We have used a lot of different medicine from different hospitals, also no avail. So have you seen a dermatologist? That is number one question. Number two, what was the diagnosis they tell you? It is not enough for you to just be going to different doctors, different hospitals. When you go to the hospitals, I always tell people on ATP, you must ask certain questions. You must always ask the doctor, what is the diagnosis, what is wrong, what are you treating. Sometimes we treat some conditions, they can come back or they may not go for different reasons. For example, there are some skin conditions by the way of their natural what we call progression or history, they will not disappear. We are not aiming to cure them because they don't have cure. For example, people that have atopic dermatitis, it's a condition that comes and goes. It will keep coming and going because it's a genetic thing. It's part of that person. So just like having asthma, it may come, then you treat it, then you go, then it will come back again. So there are skin conditions like that. You really need to understand that. If you don't understand that, you will think there's one doctor somewhere who is going to give you a cure. And then you keep going to different doctors, different hospitals. So what of this I try to do when I see my patient is to try to explain to you, this is what is going to happen. This is what you're dealing with. This is how it's going to be going. So you know you have your expectation right. It is not every time you see a doctor, or it's not every condition that doctors are trying to cure. There are some conditions that don't have cure. That is the honest truth. We have to be honest with you. Some conditions we only manage them. We try to reduce the risk of them happening again, but when they happen, we just treat it again. So which means that it will keep coming and going. So there are some conditions, like, I'm not saying that is what is happening in your baby, because I've not seen your baby's rashes. I'm just trying to give you scenarios, possible scenarios. So in this kind of a child who is since 2 months old, has been having these rashes, this baby is 28 months old, for 26 months, you should see a dermatologist. So there are some conditions that even when pediatrician treats, we think, okay, we're not getting good, we're not making progress, let's see the expert. Every condition, every single part of your body has a specialist for that part of the body. And so sometimes your general doctor can start a treatment, but when you get to a certain point, the general doctor has to refer you to the specialist for that part of your body. So for example, if you have eye something, most doctors will give you eye drop and all that, it may clear. But if it doesn't clear and it's getting worse, they know they need to send you to the ophthalmologist. That's the specialist for the eyes. The same thing with the skin. The specialist for the skin is the dermatologist. The specialist for the teeth is the dentist. So every single part of your body has a specialist. And if a condition has been going on for long, it is a sign that that person needs to see the experts for that. Even some part of the body has super experts again, so different. So for the eyes, for example, you have a specialist for the children's eyes, different from the adults, so those kind of things. So for your baby, I really think, and some skin patches may just be what we call birth marks, like neurocutaneous disease, something that is part of that child. You don't need any treatment. And sometimes you just keep going to doctors who don't know that. They will just keep treating you, think it's going to go. So that is why sometimes I always say, we don't keep going to, why not go back to the same doctor? Because that doctor has know what they have done. Then they will know that, okay, this is what could be, this is what could not be. Then they may want to refer you. I know that sometimes it could be hard. That's why sometimes I always say, go to the government hospitals, because in government hospitals, the doctor is not trying to make money off you. They are being paid their salary whether you come or not by the government. So, but they have the experts most of the time, especially in teaching hospitals. They have the experts in all those fields, and they can easily say, okay, go see the experts here. So that's the advantage. It's not because I know some of you don't like all the waiting and all the all the drama, but sometimes that's the best place to get the experts for that particular condition. And so I would recommend that seriously. Ochono is saying, what I said about, okay, I've answered this question like how many times now? Joy is saying, what is is it compulsory to add antiseptics to a 7-month? No. So the dermatologist said you don't need to add antiseptic. So Dr. Cole, our dermatologist, has done a beautiful group discussion on the care of a newborn skin. Go to our Facebook group, just ask this question. Somebody will send you the link. Just go through the reading, and I'm sure you will like. Thank you, everybody. Say something about women that throw babies up, and okay, somebody Chijoke want me to say something about women that throw babies up after bathing them. Okay, I've said that several times, but okay, somebody said I should remind the women, please don't throw your baby up and down after a bath. Just leave them alone, please. Please, I beg you, because your baby can sleep and fall from your hand and suffer a brain injury. I've seen this happen. I've seen a baby died from it. So please, babies don't need to be thrown up. They don't need to be squeezed and massaged and turned into, I don't know, all those horrible videos we have on Instagram about people saying they are bathing baby and trying to make their body strong. It's not necessary. Please just bath your baby normally wear their clothes for them and all that. That's all they need. All those development they will do by themselves. They don't need you twisting their hands or their legs or throwing them up and down. Please don't do it, because it may end up in tears. Okay. All right. Thank you. Rita is saying, it's recommended to use palm oil on baby's food. Which baby food? There's no baby food. Food is food. And there's no food that you cannot give your baby. So I don't know what you mean by baby food. So are you saying like the one you said in the store, or are you saying something like your pap or your normal cereal in your own house? If it is like the pap or the cereals in the house, you can put palm oil in it, and there's nothing wrong against use of palm oil. Palm oil is a very good source of vitamin A. It's a very good source of fat. We do what we call fortified pap. If you come to our hospital when we are treating malnourished baby, we give them palm oil. We add it to their food. Of course, just 1 spoon, maybe to like 100 ml of pap, for example. It is tomato. It's not easy. There's no bad food. That's what people make mistake of. What you really need to know is what is the right quantity I need to eat for this age, for this thing. That's all you need to know. So all these people say, oh, this particular wheat is bad. Oh, palm oil is bad. No, there is no bad food. What you need to know is the quantity that is appropriate for the right age, for the right person. That is all. And the dietitians can help you with all that. But somebody saying that you should never use palm oil, please be careful what you read online. Be careful what you read on Facebook, on Instagram, all these experienced mothers. Be careful what you read from them, because they may mislead you. Make sure, if for example you want to read something on food, make sure it's written by a nutritionist, somebody who has experts advice when it comes to food. So there are a lot of pediatric nutritionists, even on Instagram and all that. Please read from them. Don't read from experienced mothers. They will mislead you. So there's nothing wrong with you putting palm oil in your baby's pap. We use it all the time. Okay, your baby is 8 weeks old. The poo is green. So your 8 weeks old baby, your EBF, is it breast milk only? Breast milk only with no water, because a lot of people say EBF, and for Nigerian mothers this time around, I don't always take the EBF as EBF, because all the time I also see them saying I'm doing EBF but I'm giving water. So EBF is EBF, no water, nothing else. So that's number one. We need to be sure. Then number two, are you breastfeeding completely, like you breastfeed your baby and ensure that your baby suck from the beginning to the end, like your baby's empty the breast. Usually they should suck for at least 10 minutes, empty the whole breast, so that they can suck both the fore milk and the hind milk, because the fore milk is mostly watery and it just is help the baby to just quench their thirst. That's why you don't need to give your baby water, because the breast milk itself, the beginning part of it is just the water part. Then the back part, the hind milk, is the one that has the fat, that is thick and it's rich and it's creamy, and that is what gives baby satiety. That's what makes baby to feel full. So your baby needs to make sure you take both the beginning and the end. Some of you just give your baby breast in 5 minutes, then you quickly remove them from that breast and put them away, and then you say you're always breastfeeding every 30 minutes. No, that is not. If you breastfeed well, you should empty at least one breast. Some babies you can do the two, and then your baby should be able to sleep for another 3 to 4 hours before another feed. Then you are feeding well. Of course, your baby is bringing out, you are changing the diaper, their words and all that. So you need to know that you are really breastfeeding well. So this kind of question, greenish too, we need to be sure, number one, you're breastfeeding well, you're not giving water, because that water is going to dilute maybe the fore milk only, which is already water, dilute it further, then we can end up having this kind of scenario. So I hope that is helpful for you. But you can watch our breastfeeding videos. Just make sure you're doing it right, and then take it up from there. Okay, 1 month old baby, 7 days, is shivers, checks, status, the lot, the head, lower lips. This occurs when baby is asleep and awake. It's not due to noise. He cries a lot to straighten himself and suck for 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, if your 1 month old baby is checking, I really want to see a video of that, because I really want to be sure. Because baby is shaking the head, the lips and all that. That looks like a conversion to me, because if babies are, the checks that we call normal in the babies when they are sleeping, they do it usually with their hands or with their legs only. They don't do their mouths and their face and all that. So this, I really think you should actually do a video of that and show a pediatrician. Just be sure, because we need to be sure that this baby is not having convulsions, so that we need to treat the baby properly. The twisting and all that sounds like colic, and that is okay. There's nothing to worry about that. But I really worry about, because you're not really sure whether your baby is having a shiver. Babies actually don't shiver. So if your baby is checking, then we need to be sure it's not a convulsion, and we need to know what to do about that. Is it normal to add 200 grams in 30 days? What is the reason for a baby not adding weight? So the way your baby add weight changes from time to time. So your 7 months old is weighing 6.2. What was the weight of the baby? Now it's 8 months and weighing 6.4. So for your babies at this age, it depends on what food you are giving the baby. So if you are not giving enough food, your baby is not going to add enough weight. So usually at this age, your baby, an 8 month old, should be weighing closer to 8 kilos. No, yeah, 7.5 to 8 kilos. So you may need to check how you're feeding the baby. You need to make sure you are giving the right food. You didn't tell us the age of your baby, I mean the weight of your baby at birth, so that we can compare to whether the baby has doubled the birth weight and all that. So you need to check the food, make sure you're giving the right quality and the right quantity. At least I expect your baby to have had at least 1 kilo, in 30 days, not 200 grams. That's small. And for me, it has to do with the food. Okay, thank you, thank you. What month can you use prickly heat powder? If your baby doesn't have heat rash, don't use heat rash powder. If your baby has heat rash, you can use heat rash powder. But more importantly, I hope you listen to what I said about how to prevent heat rashes in the first instance. My children always complain of stomach ache at age of 4 months. I've been here 4 years, I suppose so. And I complain they give me some drug to survive for a few months. Please, and start again. Please, my Smith pap good for children. Okay. I don't really understand your first question about the abdominal pain. So please, when you go to hospital, don't just be taking drugs from our doctors. Ask them, what are you treating my child for? My baby is having abdominal pain. What are you treating for? So if your doctor just give you maybe Mismag or paracetamol and the pain goes away, the doctor has only treated the symptom. The doctor has not treated why. So you must know why. So you need to ask that question. So there are many questions. There are many causes of abdominal pain. Sometimes there is no cause of abdominal pain. Some children also have abdominal pain when they don't want to go to school. Some children have abdominal pain from constipation. It is more important to know why than for us to give drugs. So I usually want you to know why, and the drug I'm giving you, what is it meant to do? Is it to treat the symptom, or is it to treat the underlying cause? So these are the kind of questions I want you to be asking your doctors. You have a right to ask. Don't be scared of them. You don't have to be scared of your doctor. It's our job to tell you what is wrong. You have a right to ask. It's our responsibility to tell you. We need to spend time explaining things to you. There's nothing wrong with children using to take mix or maize, whether as pap or as porridge, whatever. Okpeluwa is saying, is it normal for a baby of 9 kilos at 6 months? That's a bit high, but not bad. And still weighs 9 kilos at 9 months. So if your baby is weighing 9 kilos at 6 months and then weighing 9 kilos, there's something wrong. I think it's either the scale at 6 months was wrong. That means there was a measurement error, because 9 kilos is actually supposed to be at 9 months, which is actually correct. So if your baby weighed 9 kilos at 6 months, the question you should ask yourself was, your baby is the same? Is your baby feeling the same to you? There are human errors, scale error can happen, but I really don't agree that your baby was actually weighing 9 kilos at 6 months. But then you too, you should know. For example, if your baby was actually weighing 9 kilos at 6 months and now still weighing 9 kilos at 9 months, you will see that your baby is still feeling the same. It's not looking different, but you should be able to, as a mother, you should be able to see, is this my baby looking bigger or looking smaller? So like the other person asked, you may want to check the weight again somewhere else. And you also look at your baby. Are you worried that your baby is looking smaller than what you expect, or you're looking bigger? You should be able to use your own judgment as well. But I strongly suspect that most likely the weighing at 6 months is what that is wrong, because 9 kilos at 6 months is actually too big, but 9 kilos at 9 months is perfect. All right. Tolokpe, thank you. Oh, I'm happy that the answer was helpful. Okay, I'm rushing now. 7 months old, she's eating all type of food, feed herself. What age can you stop breastfeeding? 2 years and beyond. You can do more than 2 years, but WHO said 2 years at least minimum. Facebook user 8 week. Okay, I've answered this question. Can a breastfeeding mom take ice cream, sugar, milk? Okay, so breastfeeding mothers, there's nothing you cannot take, but you should know what is not good for you. So all this ice cream, sugar, is not really good for you. Of course, you can take a treat, but it's not like you should be taking them every day. You understand what I mean? Because some of you will now say you are breastfeeding, you are not losing weight. If you are breastfeeding and you are taking all the ice cream and sugar, you will not lose weight though. So you can eat them once in a while, but not like every day. So, but there's no food that you cannot take because you are breastfeeding. There's no problem as long as you are not allergic to it and your baby is not allergic to it as well. Okay. Gina is saying, what side can you watch our breastfeed? So, Gina, do you know our Facebook group? You need to go to our Facebook group. Ask the Pediatrician. It's a big Facebook group. You can't miss ATP on Facebook. So just look for Ask the Pediatricians. Or can somebody just help me reply that? I'm not sure whether anybody is on that, so that I can give you the link to our Facebook. But just go to Facebook groups, search for Ask the Pediatricians, and somebody will tell you where the link is. It's on our guides. You will see it there in our Facebook group. What does it mean to converse in baby? What does it mean to converse? Okay. How do I explain converse in so conversion is when a baby is involuntarily checking, like they're checking like that, and they are not aware. Maybe their eyes roll up, then and all that. It's an emergency. Baby is conversing. You need to take the baby to the hospital. There are many reasons why a baby should converse. So I don't know the cause. The baby can converse if the sugar is low. They can converse from high fever. They can converse if they have infection. They can converse for so many reasons. Sometimes there's an abnormality in the brain. Baby did not cry at birth. Baby has some all it's a long list. So, but the most important thing is to stop the conversion, because we're talking about the brain getting injured from prolonged conversion. So please take a child who is conversing to the hospital. If you are the one that asked the question about your baby, I'm not really sure whether your baby is having conversion or not. So that's why I say we need to see that video, because sometimes mother description can mislead us. So we really need to see it for ourselves. So take a video. But if you are not sure your baby is conversing, it's better to rush to the hospital and let the doctor see it, and then he will tell you, oh, this is conversion, this is not conversion. If it's conversion, they know what to do. They give an injection to stop the conversion immediately, because conversion cannot go on too long. If conversion go on too long, it causes permanent brain damage. So we don't want that. Okay. My baby is 3 months old, weighing 7.2. Is the weight normal? You didn't tell us the birth weight. It's not bad, but it's a little bit on the high side, but just keep breastfeeding. Okay. How can I make my baby chubby, 5 kilos at 3 months? Okay, so I don't want your baby to be chubby. I want your baby to be healthy. What is important is healthy weight. Some of you are slim, but you want your baby to be looking chubby. So we're not planning to sell these babies. So we don't need chubby babies. We just need babies to have healthy weights. All right. So 5 kilos at 3 months is still average and it's fine. That is okay. Keep breastfeeding. Don't worry about your baby being chubby. The weight you have is also genetic, depending on you as a mom. And if you are a slim person, for example, your husband is a slim person, you don't expect your baby to be looking so fat and chubby. So the same thing. So, but we are not really worried about whether they are fat or not, because weight is not the same for everybody. But the most important is that is the weight, an healthy weight. So I have an article where I say, help feed my baby is not chubby, because I see mothers always looking for chubby babies, chubby babies, chubby babies. And then when the children are now in teenage years, they are complaining that they are too fat, they are too fat, they're too fat, they want them to lose weight. And I'm like, you set them up for being obese by making sure they are chubby as a baby, and you keep doing that. Then when they are now teenagers, you now want them to reverse. Don't aim for your baby to be chubby. What is normal weight? What is average weight for that age? Aim for that. So okay, that is the best thing. So I think I've delivered some mothers from, because all these mothers will be comparing their babies to another baby, and all because my own baby is not chubby, your own baby is chubby. Please don't stress our babies, just let them be. Okay. Okay, I think I've answered that. Okay, I've answered that. Okay, thank you. I'm almost done now. Can I give my 1 month old multivitamin? It's not necessary. Just breastfeed exclusively. How do I know if my baby is having stomach pain? If you are asking that question, your baby is not having stomach pain, so don't worry. So if your baby is not having stomach pain, there's no need to worry, because if your baby is having stomach pain, you will know. But if your baby is not having stomach pain, there's no need to worry about it. Okay, that means your baby is fine. Just keep breastfeeding your baby exclusively. Your baby was 6 months, DDBI was chubby, but since we stop BBF, is losing weight. So you know the answer to that. So Okweluwa, you need to go and do complementary feeding course. You need to do complementary feeding right. So when you are doing EBF, your baby's weight is fine. But now that you you should not stop breastfeeding your baby. That's number one. So stopping EBF does not mean stop breastfeeding. It means stop giving only breast milk. You should keep breastfeeding your baby while you are adding other food. That's the mistake most mothers make, because they think, oh, EBF is over, I stop breastfeeding, I want to give solid food. No, keep breastfeeding the same way, but now start adding other food. That is all. And that's why your baby is losing weight. But you can still try now and get back on track. Is breastfeeding and losing weight normal? Who is losing weight? Is it you or the baby? I didn't need to know. But if it's still losing weight, that is fine. Actually, breastfeeding can make you lose weight, and that's good. Okay, Gina is saying weight is 2.3. Okay, I can't remember what your weight as. Okay, yeah, you were done as weighing 6.4. So your baby actually started small, to be honest. Your baby started small, but your baby has doubled the birth weight, which is quite good. Because 6.4, your baby should double birth weight at 6 months. So that would be around 4.6. So 6.4 at 8 months. Was your baby born preterm? Because that's another thing. If your baby was born preterm, we need to correct for that. So, but yes, your baby needs to do better at this weight. So yeah, but then baby started small as well. So you need to let us know where we were born preterm and all that. And when you're ready to say, you go and check out the complementary feeding, so you know you are giving the right feeding. If you are giving the right feeding and your baby is not gaining weight, then you need to see us. You need to see a pediatrician, because we need to know whether there's any medical issue, any health issues that is affecting your baby. 7 kilos for a 3-month-old baby is fine. Oral polio, the nurse gave the baby the vaccine when I went for the normal 3 months vaccine. Yeah, yes, that is the right time. I already told you 6. We give it at birth, at 6 weeks, at 10 weeks, and at 14 weeks. So you have an immunization card. Faithfulness, check your immunization card. You should know what should be given at each age, and the nurses should write it inside. So the nurse will not give your baby what is not in the card. So there's no need for you to panic. All right, that's normal. First aid for conversion, you have to go to the hospital. There is no first aid for conversion. You can't treat conversion at home. There's no first aid for conversion at home. You need to take the child to the hospital, because only doctors can stop a conversion. The only thing that you can do is to make sure that while you are on your way, make sure the child doesn't get injured, so you can take off any tight clothes, anything around the baby and all that. So, but conversion is an emergency. It can only be stopped at the hospital. We have injection for stopping it. Ridge line, and my mom says Acor. I don't know what is Acor, but I don't know what that is. I'm going to give, please don't give help. So I've told you, all those things you see on your baby's head, they are normal. They are the bones, they are the sutures. I don't know which one. I think it's Oka you want to write. Okay, maybe it's Oka you want to write. So please don't give your baby herbs. They are normal thing. If your baby is sick, see a pediatrician. Don't say it's Oka. Don't give herbs. I beg you, for the sake of the baby. What can I use for rashes on the neck? We need to see the rashes to know what kind of rashes, and then we'll need to know. Okay. Can a 1-month-old baby experience colic? Yes, it can. I've answered this question a bit. I've answered your question. I've answered this polio question. Don't worry, the nurse will not give your baby what is not necessary. My baby 6 weeks immunization is still swollen and strong. Yeah, about 1 week after applying highs. So stop the highs. The highs is for 2 to 3 days. Okay, it's not for 1 week. So it will be strong and hard, but as long as it's not painful and as long as it's not red, there's no need to worry. The body will eventually remolded that part. So what happens is that when they give your baby immunization on the lap, there's a little bit of bleeding in the muscle. So that bleeding has now it has the same way the blood clots when you have a wound. So it has clotted, and that is what you've turning into that ad. I'm trying to avoid using medical jargon, so that's why I'm struggling. So that's what it has become, what we call it has formed like a clot. Let me use that word, clot. So with time, the body will now remove it and all those things will clear. So there's nothing to worry about. Just leave it alone. You don't need to do anything about it. If it is red, if it is hot, if it looks like there's pus inside, that shows it has become infected. And that is when you need to go to the hospital for antibiotics. Sometimes we may need to open it and bring out the pus. But if it is just the hardness, that's fine. Just leave it alone. Stop the highs. Don't worry, it will go down by itself. Okay, my goodness. You use ice for 1 week for your baby. Wow. I think we need to be clarifying that just for I think we normally say it's 2 to 3 days. No, it should not be more than that, because by that time you should stop paining them and you'll be fine. Must I give my 2 weeks old baby paracetamol drop? No, you don't have to give your baby paracetamol drop. Why do you need to give paracetamol drop? You can only give paracetamol if your baby have fever or follow immunization and all that. So there's no need to give any drugs at all to a baby. So it's possible for a baby to never take drugs ever in their lifetime, and it's okay. So don't give paracetamol drops, don't give paracetamol anything. Treatment for jaundice, it depends on the cause of the jaundice. So we have treatment for what we call conjugated jaundice or treatment for unconjugated jaundice. So for the unconjugated one, we tend to do phototherapy depending on the level. So jaundice may not even need any treatment. Let's start with that, depending on the level. If it's mild, it doesn't need any treatment. If it is high, sometimes we do phototherapy. Sometimes we need to change the blood. So if you want to know more about jaundice and treatment for jaundice, we have an article on our website. You can read about it there. Is it normal for a baby to press her head to the foam like she's in pain? Please don't put your babies on their tummy to sleep. Put babies on the back. Babies must always sleep on the back, please. It's very, very important. Please, it's very important, because this position, you say your baby is pressing the head to the foam and all that. I hope it's not face down, because we don't want anything to happen to the baby. So please, 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 please do that. Depending on what your baby is going through at any point in time, your baby can do different things. My baby is always squeezing himself, grunting when sleeping. How old is this baby? You didn't tell us. Okay. Sound like maybe a baby having colic and all that. You always have to put the age of your baby. Please always do that. Is it compulsory to give paracetamol to baby after or before immunization? You don't need to give paracetamol before immunization. You can give paracetamol after immunization if the child has fever. If the child has fever, that's all. I've never want my baby ever since I gave birth to her. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay, so if you live in Nigeria, if you live in a place where there's a high incidence of worm infestation, we recommend that you deworm your baby every 6 months. So if you are a Nigerian, please do. Some people live in countries where worm is not an issue for them, so you don't have to deworm. And just go to your pharmacy. There are plenty worm expellers, and they are over-the-counter drugs. You don't need a doctor prescription. The pharmacy will give you one and will tell you how to use it. I usually recommend albendazole, different brands, you can use it. How do I prevent my baby from rushing breast milk? Blah, blah, blah. Okay, so to prevent your baby from rushing breast milk, just stop the baby from rushing the breast milk. You are the mother. So when you want to let your baby feed, just let the baby open their mouth wide first. Don't quickly, shook the breast in their mouth. Just let them open their mouth wide, then you gently put it in. If you think baby is rushing, put your finger, the little finger, in the mouth of the baby and press down the gum, and the breast will come off. And that's it, you stop. And then you can start again after the baby has taken some fresh air. So you can do that. If you watch our breastfeeding videos, we demonstrate all these techniques. Okay, second to last question. My baby is 3.5 and 4.8 at 6 weeks. Is it normal? Yeah, that's fine. Baby's gaining weight. I'm not worried. 8 weeks old. Okay, 8 weeks old, grunting. Yeah, those ones are fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Yes, I finally answered all the questions on Facebook. I think somebody has helped me to close down the comments. All right, thank you. Okay, let me just be sure I've not left out Instagram people. Okay, my son of 4 years has boiled back to back, and I've used several antibiotics. Wow, several antibiotics a lot. The question we should ask is, why is your baby having recurrent boils? So you need to ask your doctor to answer that question first. So instead of just giving you antibiotics, what can we do to prevent it? Why? Is it hygiene? Is it something? Or is it baby has what we call low immunity or something? There must be a reason why your baby is having boys, so you need to find out that first. And Face by saying 7-month-old toddler can only tolerate puree food, even 2 grains of rice will cause her to throw up. So that sounds like what we call a sensory thing. Some children have that kind of thing. They don't want anything solid at all, but it's not appropriate. So we have to gradually begin to give them solids and stop puree. You may need for that with match. You may also say dietitian for some support around that. Yes, you need help. Your 17 months old should be taking solids. Multi cakes. My cousin baby is a year plus but can't walk, talk, neck not stable. Okay, Alanti has John is okay. What should he do? So this baby sound like a child with what we call cerebral palsy, and I think the baby has severe jaundice. That is what is causing the developmental delay and the cerebral palsy. The baby need to see somebody like me, a developmental pediatrician or a pediatric neurologist. You can go to any of the teaching hospitals. So the child it's a long journey. It's a long journey. The child will need therapy, physiotherapy, speech therapy, lots of support depending on the severity of the injury to the brain, but there's still help for the baby. All right, I hope that is all. Okay, Oma Beke say my 14-month-old gum is swollen where he already has teeth. So if his gum is swollen, then that means there's some either infection like gum abscess or something. You need to see the dentist. Basically, that's what you need to do. Okay. Sophia is saying my baby is born with communication. I think it's hydrocephalus you want to write. 2 months old. You need to see the neurosurgeons. Have you not seen one? You need to see them. So depending on what, it's a complex thing. It's not something I can be telling you online but you definitely need to see the neurosurgeons, and they will tell you whether it's something they're going to do surgery for because it's communicating. So there's no obstruction. So I don't think it's the type that requires surgery, but I don't, there are other information we need to know. So you need to see the neurosurgeons and the pediatric neurologists so that you know the way forward. The water is not going to be removed. All of us have water in our brain, okay? The question is, if the water is too much, why is it too much? Is it being produced by something or something? So that's why I say it's not something I can, because I don't know the specific cause of your own child, so we need to know those information, and that will help us to know whether it's a surgical thing or not surgical thing and all that. But you need to see those specialists because those are the specialists that will manage the baby, and the earlier the better. Gobi, Geo Joby saying, what can I do for my 4 months old with cough, catarrh, block nose? Cough, catarrh, your 4 months old should be on exclusive breastfeeding. So keep breastfeeding exclusively and keep the baby warm. The cough, catarrh will go. If the nose is blocked, you can put things like saline drops. You can buy it in the pharmacy. It's over the counter. And it will soften the mucus to flow out. But more importantly, keep the baby away from people with cough and catarrh, the siblings, especially that have cough and catarrh, or adults with cough and catarrh. You need to focus on prevention as well. But usually within 2 weeks, most of them will resolve. No in the testicle. I don't understand, Sophia. What is the question about no in the testicle? Communicating. Okay, hydrocele. Oh, is it hydrocele you are saying? Oh, sorry. Hydrocele. Oh, the word communicating you use is wrong. We don't use communicating for hydrocele. Hydrocele is hydrocele. Communicating is hydrocephalus. So that's why you got me lost. Oh, sorry about that. So for the hydrocele, you need to see the pediatric surgeons. So for hydrocele, some of them resolve on their own, some of them don't, but it's a minor surgery. They can deal with it in a day and you still go home, so you can see them. Sorry. Oh, that's why it's good to always write everything fully. Should I breastfeed when I have a cold? Yes, you can breastfeed when you have a cold, but you can use your face masks. All right. Okay, there are some questions that went to the inbox. Face by saying, good evening, doctor. My 17-month cannot eat even. Okay, I've answered that question. Bisoye is saying, good evening, doctor. My 4-year-old has a rash all over her body from head to toe. What can I do? You need to say, doctor. We need to see the rash, and a rash that is over head to toe is worrisome because one is a viral infection, is it an allergy? Those are the kind of rashes that will cover the entire body. So you need to see a doctor. Can I have breastfeeding? Okay, I'll answer breastfeeding Joby question. My baby has been coughing. Okay, fever at night. If your baby is having cough and catarrh and it's also having fever, then you need to see a doctor, because it's usually most of the viral infection don't give you fever, or maybe at all, maybe very mild fever. But if your baby is having fever, we need to be sure this cough is not what's it called? It is not a bacterial infection that need antibiotics. So I would say you need to see a doctor. So most likely you are the one that gave your baby the cold, because um, you say you have a cold, then your baby is not having cough and catarrh, and so it may be from you, and you also need to be treated as well. Okay, so I think I've answered all the questions. I've gone almost 1 hour beyond time. Oh my goodness, sorry about that. Okay, but if you have not answered your questions, I can still see a few questions on Facebook, and they come before 7. But I think you should just post them on our Facebook group, and somebody will answer them. Yeah, somebody will answer them. I think some of these questions I've answered as well. If your baby is having cough, catarrh, and all that, please see it, but no temperature. But it's turning green and all that. You need to say, doctor, your baby is having nasal discharge that is greenish. That's bacterial infection. Like, somebody will. Okay. This is not a question and answer session for gynecological issues. So I'm a pediatrician. Okay, for how to lactate well, please watch our breastfeeding videos. There are a lot of questions about we have a lot of things on breastfeeding videos you can watch. Is it okay for 8 weeks to sleep for only 9 to 11 hours? Most 8 weeks will sleep up to 14 to 16 hours. So, yeah, make sure the baby is eating well. But sometimes when they're having some phases, they may pass through the phases of not sleeping well and all that. Okay, I think I've finished. And so if you still have questions, please post your questions on the Facebook group, and they will be able to address all the questions. If I've not answered your question, I apologize, but please post it on our Facebook group, and one of my colleagues, myself, or one of our moderators will address those questions. Or you can actually watch the video from the beginning. Most of those questions are questions that we've answered again and again. So, and if you have questions on Instagram, please, you have to join us on our Facebook group. Unfortunately, we cannot do question and answer on Instagram except when we do it live like this, for various peculiar reasons of Instagram. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining me. I'll see you again next week, Monday, by God's grace. And just for you to know that this program has been brought to you by Atp Live Foundation, and we are for your children's health and to make sure that our children live and not die. So any health question about children, feel free to post on our Facebook group. We also answer questions for yourself, for adults, but you can put on our ATP Family Facebook group. And for those who need emotional support for loss of children, loss of pregnancy, you can join our ATP Still a Mom Facebook group. And we are happy for you to support us. We are an NGO. We support children. We do outreaches. All the information you need on how to support us are on our website or on our Facebook group. Thank you so much. I'll see you next week. God's grace. By God's grace. Bye.